Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Alicia and I'm the owner of Alicia Be Creative. Today we are jumping in again to some Christmas themed designs and we're going to be using some gorgeous vinyls from Flint Sister Supply Shop. So you guys know that everything I use in today's tutorial will be listed and linked down in the description box, as well as any discount codes I have for you to save you a little bit of extra money. So let's go ahead and jump right into today's Christmas inspired tutorial. Okay, so of course I had to start off by showing you guys this gorgeous pack from Flint Sister Supply Shop. So this is Jessica's Holly Jolly pack. It is of course Christmas themed. And in her packs, her vinyl packs, you get 10 sheets of vinyl, you get 5 images, and then you get duplicate of those same patterns. So 10 12 by 12 sheets. And this is really high quality vinyl that you're getting. And then you get a set of matching decals to go corresponding with the prints. So I loved this cute little Holly Jolly pack. Cannot wait to get started on making some really cute Christmas designs this holiday season. So now on to the prep process of our tumbler. I am using a 35-ounce duo from Hog Tumblers. I do have a discount code for them down in the description box for anybody who is a new customer to Hog and hasn't purchased from them before. But what we're going to do, of course, is we are going to prep this cup by doing a little bit of sanding. I use anywhere between a 60 or 80 grit sanding block, really just to scuff up the surface, remove all of that shine from the manufacturer coating, and get this cleaned off with a bit of 91% rubbing alcohol and a paper towel. Once I'm satisfied with that, we're just going to prep this cup color-wise with a flat white spray paint. Get this completely covered in paint. That way we're ready to get into the bulk of the work, which is mostly going to be a vinyl themed design. So I'm using 2 of the prints from the Holly Jolly pack from Flint Sister Supply Shop, and we're going to be doing sort of like a split cup design, but it's really going to be split into 3 sections. So a little bit different than the 3-way split you guys have seen me do on my channel before. We're going to split the front section kind of directly in half, but that back section is going to be all vinyl. So I've gone ahead and taken a bit of painter's tape here and just eyeballed the halfway point of the bottom of the cup and then just dragged that side of the painter's tape down the side of the cup in a straight line. I've done this plenty of times before, so I'm pretty good at this point about eyeballing the halfway point. Is it the exact middle? Probably not, but honestly, you're not even going to notice. So we're going to start with this really cute sort of like vintage Christmas decoration print, which I just think is so stinking cute. And I'm just going to measure this on the cup to get the correct sizing that I need for the back portion of the tumbler. So once I've cut the vinyl to be sized for my cup, giving myself just a little bit of overlap on either side of that section we're going to be covering in vinyl, we're going to get this vinyl laid down. So I'm going to use a piece of painter's tape to just adhere and anchor down the one side so that I can easily pull up the side I'm going to start with adhering without moving it off of how I've placed it so it's evenly on the tumbler. So cutting away about 1 inch of that backing there, we're going to go ahead and anchor down the sticky side of the vinyl. Then I'll take off that anchored piece of tape that I used to just hold my vinyl in place. And we're going to use my big squeegee, which I love to use to apply vinyl because it really does make sure that everything goes on nice and straight, doesn't get crooked. I also avoid a lot of bubbles and wrinkles this way, I have found, because I'm using such a large squeegee. So if you haven't grabbed up a large squeegee, I know you can buy them on Amazon. There's also a lot of amazing companies that you can support and buy their large vinyl squeegees. Mine is from a Vinyl Gallery, and you can purchase that at shopvinylgallery.com. And I have a discount code for her site down in the description box as well. So once I've gotten the vinyl laid down, this back half, I'm going to, of course, now cut off any of the excess vinyl along the tape side. And then we'll focus on the top and bottom of the cup. So pulling the top section down into the cup is really just going to help me create a nice straight line that I can cut away with my craft knife. And then for the bottom portion, I'm just going to lay down a little bit of tape after I've sort of pulled that vinyl as tautly as I can. Lay down a little bit of tape along this edge and cut along the edge of the tape. Now, if you have a vinyl edging tool or a cup edging tool, you guys have seen me use mine in my tutorials before. You can definitely use this, but if you're someone who doesn't have that sort of tool, you can always just utilize a piece of painter's tape as your guide and just use your craft knife to cut away the excess vinyl. Now that I've gotten the one side of the vinyl placed, I'm going to go ahead and remove my tape that was separating the cup. That way we can work on putting the vinyl that's going to be on the front half. So the front half of the cup, we're going to split directly in half. And I'm going to be using the really cute like red, green, and white plaid vinyl that was part of the pack. I loved both of the plaids that were part of this pack, this vinyl pack. They just speak to me, and I'm actually not someone who has like a lot of plaid in my closet. I don't do a lot of things plaid, but I love the look of plaid, and especially for the holiday season, this was just like the perfect to add to match the back of this vinyl. So again, I've just taken a piece of painter's tape, eyeballed the middle portion of the front half of the cup, and then I've gone ahead and taken my vinyl, my plaid vinyl, and I'm just measuring on the cup again to give myself just a little bit of overlap in case things go crazy, and make sure I cover the entire front section that I need to. And we're just gonna size this to fit the cup. So once I've gotten sort of that initial cut done, then we'll cut away any of the excess on the bottom that I'm not going to need. That way I can save these scraps of beautiful vinyl for other projects. So now we're gonna go ahead and apply this piece of vinyl just like we did the back half. This will be a little bit easier because it's a smaller section. So I'm gonna go ahead and again, just adhere a little bit of tape to one side to keep that anchored down. That way I can cut away the backing here and get this sticky side of the vinyl adhered down to the edge, and then go ahead and again use my vinyl tool, or my squeegee tool I should say, to get this piece of vinyl on the cup. As I get to the edge here, we're going to go ahead and cut away that excess vinyl. So what I like to do is I just like to use my nail to kind of create that indent where the two pieces of vinyl will meet, and I'll use that divot as my guideline to cut away the excess vinyl that I don't need that does overlap. We'll again use that tape before that we did for the other side to cut off the edge of this vinyl, and then we're kind of done with the vinyl portion of this. So we're not quite done yet with the base of this design. So now we're gonna go ahead and add a little bit of tape to cover up our vinyl here. So I've switched from using painter's tape to using electrical tape, and I'm using this because I find that electrical tape sticks really well to vinyl without damaging it, but it also allows that protection that I'm going to need from any of the alcohol ink that I'm going to be using from seeping through. Sometimes with painter's tape, you can really get alcohol ink to still seep through the top side of your vinyl or under the edges if it's not adhered to the cup all the way. And so I wanted to make sure that I used something that was a little bit stronger, but wasn't going to be too strong that it would pull up my vinyl. So I decided to go with electrical tape to cover up the edges of the vinyl. That way I can make sure that I was going to have a protected vinyl piece as I was adding my alcohol inks. So I am using Espresso from Ranger Alcohol Inks to do my wood grain. I use anything between espresso, sepia, or teakwood are usually the three browns that I like to use when I am trying to do a true wood grain look. Certainly it just depends on what sort of texture of wood you're looking for or coloring of the wood you're looking to use. Will just kind of depend on which of those browns in any alcohol ink collection you'll want to use. So again, a wood grain is just an alcohol ink that you use a dry chip brush, and you just brush in up and downward motions to create that wood grain textured look. So once I've gotten that entire section that was all white paint covered in my espresso alcohol ink, then that beautiful wood grain, we're removing all of that vinyl or all of that tape from that, and we're going to do our cleanup process here. So I got just a little bit of alcohol ink underneath a section of tape that wasn't quite adhered down quite nicely. So I just used a little bit of rubbing alcohol on a paper towel and was able to really nicely rub that away right off the vinyl. This then went on the turner for 3 coats of epoxy to make sure that I had a really nice smooth surface to work on. So because we're not doing a lot of detailing with like glitters and things, I really did go heavy with the epoxy because I knew that this was going to need a few coats in order to make this obviously a thicker coat or thicker cup, to make sure that I really am going to have a very protected project here. And so now I've just gone ahead and created a bow design using the shapes feature in Cricut Design Space and a bow that I pulled from the Cricut Design Space images. So I have a tutorial that I did a while ago using this same sort of bow technique that I created in Cricut Design Space, and I show you the Cricut Design Space process. So I will link that here as well so you can go back to that. I didn't feel like I needed to kind of repeat that because I know I've shown how I created this bow look before, so that you guys could certainly see how to do that in case you need sort of tips and tricks on doing that. So I've cut away my excess vinyl after applying my bow and ribbon here. And now we're just going to finish up, of course, with adding our final elements as far as vinyl work goes, adding some washi tape in red to the edges of the cup that meet that beautiful vintage pattern on the back. And then across the center here, I'm going to use a green metallic washi tape. These are always sort of my go-tos, my go-to pack of washi tape that I always pick up when I'm at Hobby Lobby or Michael's. And we're just going to use that green along the center here. Certainly vinyl lines will work as well, but you guys know I prefer to use a washi tape just because it beats me having to, pull off the Cricut and make those vinyl lines. For the final thing we're going to do here is I didn't do anything to the bottom of the cup, and I ended up accidentally chipping some paint through the process of applying the vinyl. So in order to cover that up and really get it to look cohesive with the rest of the tumbler, I'm taking some green chalk paint that I have on hand, and I'm just going to paint the bottom of the cup this beautiful green. You could spray paint it if you wanted to. I just decided to do this deep green color that I had found on hand. I'm going to do 2 coats of this, so it looks a little streaky now, but I did finish and touch that up with a second coat of paint. So it really is a beautiful, solid, dark hunter green color. That goes back on the turner for its 2 final coats of epoxy. That way we can get into adding our embellishments, of course, with our rhinestones here. So this is a scatter mix called Lucky from Flint Sisters Supply Shop, and this is the rhinestone look that we're going to be putting on top of the bow. So I am using Gem Tack as my glue of choice for today, and I'm going to put a little bit of that glue just on a sticky pad and use a silicone brush to adhere my glue onto those sections. That way it can be a little bit more, pointed and making sure I don't go over the edges. To prep my cup, I should say, for applying my rhinestones and glue, I am just going to take the corner of my sanding block and just sand all sections of where the vinyl is, being careful not to actually sand the surface that's outside of the bowed section, because you will see any scratches to the surface. So just being very mindful when you are putting rhinestones on top of epoxy that you do want to prep your area that you're going to be applying your stones over, but you want to make sure that you don't sand too much over where you're going to be applying rhinestones, because all those scratches will be evident. So we're going to use the scatter method here with all these different sizes of stones to fill up all of this beautiful bow. I chose Lucky because Lucky is a beautiful, like, shifty color, but it gives like flecks of gold, and I really felt that played really nice to the overall vintage look, as well as the plaid that we have on the bottom section here. So I just finished applying this. Gem Tack takes about 24 hours to fully dry before I was able to take this in and give it a final wash and clean it all up. And then after that was done, I let that sit, and then this is the final look at the cup. So I do hope that you guys enjoyed today's tutorial. As always, if you loved my video today, be sure to check out other videos on my channel, as well as give this video a huge thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. And you guys know I will be back again next Saturday for another tutorial. Bye!